Hey, hey, hey! Today we're going to be doing lesson 5-6, graphing inequalities in two variables. Alright, let's look at example 1. Now this example, we're going to graph an inequality. Alright, and this is the example where we graph an inequality that is either less than or greater than. Alright, so here's the example that they gave us. We have 3x minus y less than 2. Alright, so our first step 1, I'll put it here, is to solve for y. Alright, and to help you guys, we can change this sign into an equal sign. So let's change it into an equal sign. We have 3x minus y equals 2. We're going to get y by itself. So in order for us to do that, remember, we can draw the borderline that separates both sides of the equation, and we need to get rid of 3x. Now 3x is being subtracted to y, but 3x is positive, so we're either adding or subtracting 3x to get rid of 3x. Because it's positive, the opposite of that is negative, so we're going to subtract 3x to both sides. So minus 3x to both sides, minus 3x. Because 3x is positive, we're going to subtract 3x. And I messed up there for a little bit. But what we're doing is subtracting 3x to both sides. So 3x minus 3x is 0. So these cancel out, but we can bring the y down. Now remember, the y has a negative in front of it. So it's really negative y. Alright? And we have 2 minus 3x. Now because these terms are not alike, we cannot combine them. So what we end up having is 2 minus 3x. We could write it this way. Now you notice that the y is not by itself because it's accompanied with a negative. So in order for us to get rid of that negative, we can multiply everything by negative 1. So I'm going to multiply the 2 by negative 1 and also the negative 3x by negative 1. This will get rid of all the negative where the y is at. So these negatives will cancel. It will be positive y equals negative 2, and negative times the negative is a positive 3x. Now we have y equals negative 2 plus 3x. We can rewrite this expression to make it look like in slope-intercept form. So what we have is y equals 3x, positive 3x, minus 2. Now this is our equation. We just solved for y. Alright, so after we solve for y, step 2, we're going to graph this equation. Alright, so we have y equals 3x minus 2. Let's go ahead and put this in the graph. Now here's the graph lines. What we're going to do is graph the y equals 3x minus 2. Now remember, the negative 2 on the y equals 3x minus 2 is our y-intercept. So we go ahead and write it down here, up here, so you guys can see. So we have y equals 3x minus 2. Alright, it's right here is our y-intercept. Now the 3 is our slope. Now our slope is rise over run. So in essence, really the slope is going to be 3 over 1. Alright, rise over run. Now let's go ahead and graph our first point. Our first point is going to be at -2 because that's our y-intercept. So here's where our first point is going to be. On the y line, it's going to be at -2. So -1, -2. That is our first point. Now from that point, we're going to use slope. Remember, slope is rise over run. So we're going to rise 3 units since it's +3, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to run 1, which is going to be to the right. Now, to keep in mind, we have our 2 points and we can create our line. But I want you guys to read this, okay? Now for step 2, we're going to graph. And because the inequality is not an equal to sign, we're going to graph using dashed line. Alright, because it's not an equal to sign, we're going to graph using dashed line. What this means is that the original inequality is y less than, alright, that was the one that we saw. The original inequality is 3x minus y less than 2. We're graphing this inequality, which is less than. And because it's not equal to, it doesn't have a line underneath it, we're going to graph it using dashed line. So the dashed line we're using, and I'll do it in green so you can see. So this is how the graph should look like, and it is a dashed line. You can see that. Now we're not done yet, because this is an inequality. We have some shading to do. So let's find out where we are going to shade. Now this is going to be considered step 3. Alright, so step 3, and I put it over here. Step 3, half of the containing origin is the solution. So we're going to find out which side to shade, either the right side of the line or the left side of the line. Alright, and in order for us to find out which side, we have to find out which statement will make it true. So for step 3, we are going to plug in the number 0, 0. Now 0, 0 is here, which is the origin. Now if it's true for the origin, then we shade on the side where the origin is. If it's not true for the origin, we shade the opposite side. So let's go ahead and plug in 0, 0 for x and y. So remember, x is 0, y should be 0 also. So let's plug it in for step 3. We have 3 times 0 minus 0 less than 2. Alright, so 3 times 0 is 0, minus 0 would be 0. Is 0 less than 2? Now because this statement is true, wherever the 0, 0 is, the origin, we shade that side. So because it's true, we're going to shade the left side. And we're going to shade everything on the left side of the line. Alright, and that is it. Let's see if we can find a problem that you guys can be able to do. Alright, so here's a problem that we are going to do. Alright, so go ahead and pause the video, see if you can solve it on your own, and then we'll do it together. Alright, let's see if you got the right answer. Well, step 1, of course, we are going to try to get y by itself. If you noticed already, y is already by itself. But if you want, we can change that sign to make it easier to see. This is our slope-intercept form. Now I'm going to go ahead and graph it over here, 3, so that you guys have an idea of how it should look like. And hopefully it looks like the same graph that you graphed. Alright, so we have the slope, which is 1 over 2, it's rise over run, and we have the y-intercept, which is positive 3. So we graph the y-intercept first at 3, 1, 2, 3. So my first point should be at the 3. And then from here, we're going to go up 1 and over 2, 1, 2. Alright, understand whether we graph it using dash or a solid line. It depends on the inequality. And because this is not an equal to sign, we're going to graph it using dashes. So let's graph the dash. Not really a straight line, but you get the picture. Alright, so now that we graphed it using dash, let's find the origin. Now the origin is right here, which is 0, 0. We're going to replace the y and the x with 0. So 0 less than 1 over 2 times 0 plus 3. Now 0 is just 0. Less than, this becomes 0 plus 3. And then 0 plus 3 is 3. Now is 0 greater than 3? This statement here is false. And because it's false, we're not graphing it on this side. Where the origin is, we're going to graph it on the other side. Shade, not graph. So we're going to shade on the other side of the line. And there you have it. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to comment below.